AITA for telling my sister as her surrogate that her husband can't be in the room while I'm in labor? I, 30F, told my sister, 34F, that I don't feel comfortable with her husband being in the room while I give birth to their child. My sister's been engaged to her husband for about 6 years now, and ever since she was a teen she's always expressed the want to have a family. About 3 years ago my sister found out she was infertile after trying for a kid for over a year. This was obviously devastating for her, and as her sister I've felt horrible. Maybe a year ago she had started seeking out surrogates, but after being unsuccessful she resorted to asking me. At first I was hesitant, but as her sister I hated to see her so desperate for a child, so I told her I'd be open and willing with no expense. I want to make it clear that I've never had any issues with her husband, but I made it very clear to my sister before I became her surrogate that I do not want any men in the room during labor, as I was a previous SA victim in which I was taken advantage of by multiple men while purposely put under the influence, which was extremely traumatic and am still recovering. My sister had agreed to having her husband wait outside, and so I was okay with it as well. But, about a month before my due date her husband called and asked me if I'd requested him not to be in the room during child labor. I had explained to him that I did and that it was no personal issues I had with him, and that having any men around me during a state of vulnerability like child labor would be extremely triggering. He quickly got mad and said that I don't have the right nor the say in determining whether or not he as the father can be in the room. I told him I wouldn't change my mind and that even though it was his kid, that I was the one giving birth. He continued to scream at me and abruptly hung up. Later on in the day my sister had came to my house, accusing me of disrespecting her husband and saying that after a lot of thinking she thought it to be unfair and ignorant to ban her husband from seeing me give birth to their child. I then yelled at her, telling her that it was cruel and selfish how she was willing to let her husband in the room after knowing everything I had gone through previously with assault. She then basically told me that after her baby was born she'd stop talking to me for good. It's now currently 2 weeks before my due date and I'm still very persistent on not having any men in the room, and quite frankly I'm fine with not speaking to my sister if she continues to be close-minded. Am I the a-hole?